Chapter 10 The Evidence. There were 5 minutes left in recess. Ryan, Michael, Andrea, Emily, and I sneaked in from the playground through the door into the library. Shh, I said as we tiptoed into the library. Follow me. Lucky for us, the library was empty. Mrs. Roopy was probably eating lunch in the teacher's room. On our hands and knees, we made our way past into the nonfiction books to Mrs. Roopy's office. The door was unlocked. I opened it. "We're going to be caught," Emily said. "We're going to be kicked out of school and thrown in jail for the rest of our lives." "In here," I said, ignoring Emily. "This is where we'll find the evidence." We were inside Mrs. Roopy's office. I wanted to turn the light on, but Michael told me that when his father is doing a secret invasion, he never turns the lights on. We tried to see the best we could with the light that came in through the window. "Do you see any evidence?" Michael said. "Not yet." It was just a bunch of boring stuff. Pictures of Mrs. Roopy, daughter, papers, videos, junk. No evidence at all. "Let's get out of here," Emily said. "I'm scared." "Not yet," I said. There was a closet by the corner. I pulled the handle. It wasn't locked. And there, inside the closet, was all the evidence we would ever need. George Washington's uniform, Little Bo Peep's dress, Johnny Appleseed overalls, Neil Armstrong's spacesuit. Every single costume Mrs. Roopy had been wearing was hanging right there in the closet. "This is the proof," Michael said. "All those people was just Mrs. Roopy dressed up in costumes." "I told you so," said Andrea. "You did not," I said. "Did too," she said. "Oh, you think you know everything," I said. "Well, you're not so smart." That's where the light flicked on. It was Mrs. Roopy standing in the doorway looking at us. "What's the meaning of this?" she asked. She had her hands on his hips, so we knew she was mad. For some reason, grown-ups always put their hands on their hips when they are mad. "I had nothing to do with it," Andrea said. "It was all AJ's idea." Everybody was looking at me. I had to think fast. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in jail. I grabbed George Washington's uniform out of the closet. "What's the meaning of this?" I said, holding up the costume. "You told us you were homesick in bed and George Washington was here instead of you. How do you explain in the fact that George Washington's uniform is in your closet, huh?" We all turned to look at Mrs. Roopy. She just stood there from the moment and then she broke down crying. She was sobbing and big tears were running down her face. It was so sad that we all gathered around her and gave her a hug. Emily was crying too. This is horrible, Mrs. Roopy said, wiping her eyes with a tissue. You'll be okay, Mrs. Roopy, Andrea said. We'll get you some help. No, it's horrible, Mrs. Roopy cried. George Washington must have left his uniform in my closet when he was here. Do you know what that means? What? It means George Washington is running around somewhere with no clothes on.